That was always George Lucas's trick. With Star Wars, the fans who know who I am are very, invested fans, because if they know who's behind the camera, they're doing a lot of research. I know that Guillermo del Toro, who's a friend of mine, is a big Star Wars fan too, and I showed him this movie, and he came in the editing room, and he's been a friend for many years. He has a deep love for Star Wars. No, look, I was in his movie Wolf of Wall Street, and he hired a lot of directors to be in that, right? Myself, who else was in it? Spike Jonze, I think, was in it. Martin Scorsese, Rob Reiner was in it. Working with directors as actors is always very relaxing, because the directors are very curious to watch what happens on set, but they're happy not to be in charge of anything. Because usually when you're directing, you have to think, everybody's asking you a million questions. Directors as actors tend to be very easygoing, because they could make their own movie on their own. So if they're on somebody else's set, it's exciting to watch somebody else making a film. And with him, he improvised, he laughed. I would suggest things. It was like almost doing an improv scene. And I got to act with him because we were recording the voices, so I recorded with him. So it was a dream come true. No, it's this very special, you could even look now, the people at Legacy who build and puppet the creature, they have been working with this puppet for so long that it feels alive. And even from the beginning, it was very special. Something about the design, the eyes. But there's like 4 puppeteers that work together, sometimes more. And they know how to work together, and you're on the set, it's like you're looking at a person. And there's a lot of behind the scenes footage where you see people just staring between takes at the puppet and talking, and the puppeteers are always working. So it's not like between takes the puppet goes, if the puppet's sitting in a chair, it's looking around, doing that. So when you direct the puppet, like with Bryce Dallas Howard on the show, she would just talk to the puppet. So we just all started talking to the puppet to give direction, like it's an actor. So it's been great. The trick part, though, is in Star Wars, the other characters don't see it as cute. That was always George Lucas's trick. If an alien looked crazy looking, you treated them like you saw them every day. If a character's cute, you don't act like it's cute. It's all part of the normal world. Who's your little friend, Yeah. But between takes, Sigourney Weaver, she's a tough character in this, but between takes, look at hi, I love him. Like in the Oscars, you see her do the skit. Yeah, she's very protective of him. I'd say there's a lot of overlap between Star Wars and Marvel. So you can't really talk about them like separate groups. And each generation connects with both stories in different ways. And I have with Marvel, I get a better sense because I'm Happy Hogan. So I'll meet people in the street who think of me as that character, or they know me as an actor. With Star Wars, the fans who know who I am are very, invested fans, because if they know who's behind the camera, they're doing a lot of research. With Marvel, I just get kids coming up to me, Happy, take a picture, And then some Marvel fans know that I directed Iron Man, and I go way back. So I have a very interesting perspective on both. I find that both of them care a lot about the characters. And they're very invested, and they really want the movies to be good. They want the shows to be good, and when they connect with it, they appreciate it so much. But there's a lot of responsibility, because they're invested in these characters and these stories, and they want to make sure that it lives up to all their hopes. Because I think many of them have grown up with both these franchises, and they feel a strong connection. So it's almost like they're trusting you with something that's very dear to them. Yeah, I think every director brings their own spin to everything. I know, like Sean Levy's getting ready to do Starfighter for Star Wars. I know that Guillermo del Toro, who's a friend of mine, is a big Star Wars fan too, and I showed him this movie, and he came in the editing room, and he's been a friend for many years. He has a deep love for Star Wars, and I'd love to see. I know that he's been talking to them in the past about working on things. I'd love to see his perspective on Star Wars, because it would be different than George Lucas's. I think you could create a creature, and I think sometimes we take liberties, but I think there's something deeper than what he created, and it's more what Star Wars feels like. And Star Wars came from his imagination, but all of us are fans, and ask each other as we see like illustrations or even script pages, but especially the visuals, does this feel like Star Wars? Because when Star Wars came out, there wasn't a lot of different subgenres of sci-fi. Sometimes we'll look at a design and say, oh, that looks more like it should be from Star Trek maybe, or maybe that looks like something else that would be from Alien. So Star Wars has a very specific set of parameters, and there's no guidebook about what it is. So, you know, talk to Dave Filoni or Doug Chiang or John Knoll, and together we figure out, does this feel authentic to Star Wars, even if it's something new. Like Grogu, he's a new design, but he feels like Star Wars because he's related so much to the design of Yoda. And also, he's not too cute. He's kind of ugly, but not too ugly, you know? So I think with Star Wars, there's definitely a weird edge to it. A lot of it's the Phil Tippett designs, too, I'm so happy to work with him doing stop motion on the movie. And he also helps define environments. So the aesthetics come from a collection of different imaginations that all stem originally from George, but really it's a whole group effort.
Suscríbete y entérate de todo.